Hi everybody, this is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this button textured scarf. It is a great scarf that you can actually unbutton to wear it as either an infinity scarf or just a regular long scarf. If you like this tutorial, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of any future videos. So all you need for today's tutorial is a size H crochet hook, a yarn needle, some scissors, and some worsted weight yarn. I'm using the Red Heart Heat Wave. This color is called Bikini. I'm also using the color Radio for the edging. So to get started using your gray, you just want to chain 236 chain. Once you've done that, we are going to half double crochet into the third chain from the hook. And then just half double crochet into every chain until you reach the end of the row. You should have a total of 234 stitches when you get done. So at the end of row 1, it's a really good time to just stop and measure your row. You're looking for roughly 65 inches at this point. And then as we move on, I'm just going to change colors during a chain. So it's technically a chain 2, but I changed colors in the middle of it. And then now we start row 2. Row 2, you're going to start with a half double crochet into the very first stitch. And then we're going to create our texture. To create the texture, you're going to single crochet into the next stitch and then double crochet into the same stitch. Now skip a stitch and repeat. Single crochet and then double crochet into the same stitch. We're going to skip a stitch and repeat, and do this all the way down the row. So here we are at the end of row 2. We're working our last double crochet of our repeat. We're going to skip another stitch here, and then working into the very last stitch, we will work a half double crochet. That is the end of row 2. Now we're simply going to repeat row 2. So we're going to chain 2 and half double crochet into the very first stitch. After your first stitch, we're going to be working into the next stitch, and we're going to do our repeat of a single crochet and then a double crochet. So now we're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to work the single crochet and double crochet into the top of this stitch here, and the stitch you're working into will always be a double crochet. So the top of the double crochet, we are going to single crochet and then double crochet, skip a stitch and repeat, and complete this all the way down your row, and you will continue to repeat this row until you have a total of 11 rows worked. So this is your repeat row. When you get to the end of this row, I'm just finishing up our last repeat. Skip a stitch and work a half double crochet into your very last stitch. As I said, just repeat this row until you have a total of 11 rows. And feel free to add extra rows if you want to make it thicker. Alright, so here we are. We've made it to the end of row 11, and we have a beautiful texture being created from these rows. I'm just going to half double crochet into the last stitch, but when I do, I am going to change my colors. So just yarn over with that last yarn over and pull through. And then I will chain 2 up, turn my row, and then I'm simply going to half double crochet into every stitch along the top. This is just so that the top of the scarf looks exactly the same as the bottom. So just half double crochet in every stitch across, and then we'll be ready to work those ribbed sections on the end of our scarf. So here we are at the end of row 12, and we're going to start working down the side of the rows we've created to create that ribbed edging at the end. But to do this, since we have half double crochets, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and then work a single crochet into the first side row, And then into the side of the next row, we're actually going to work 2 single crochet. If it had been single crochet working into, we'd only done 1. Double crochets, we would have done 2. But since we're working half double crochets, we need to alternate working 1 single crochet into the side and then working 2 single crochet into the side of the next stitch. And that's going to keep it nice and even across. So you're going to do this all the way across until the very last stitch, in which in this case we're working 2 single crochet because we have an even number of rows. And now we're ready to create the rest of our ribbed section. So to this we're going to chain 1 and we're going to work single crochets into the back loop only. So going into the center of the top of the stitch and just under that back loop, we'll create single crochets all the way across. So now we've reached the end of the row. We're going to chain 1, turn, and work 8 more rows just like we did. So there's going to be a total of 9 rows worked in as single crochet in the back loop only. And this is going to be the side where we actually sew on our buttons. So we've created our 9 rows of single crochet in the back loop, and right now we are going to fasten off here. We're done with this side for now. Just fasten off, and as I said, this will be the side you put your buttons on. All right, moving right along to the other side, I'm going to take my yarn still in the gray, and I'm going to make a slip knot. Now starting with that first row, working into the side, I'm just going to work a single crochet directly into this row. Technically it's called a standing single crochet, but I've just always thought of it as a single crochet. So moving into the next row, we're going to work 2 single crochet, then 1, then 2, then 1, then 2, just like we did the other side. So 2 single crochet, 1 in the next row, and 2 single crochet all the way across. So when you reach the end of the row, it's going to be exactly the same as the other side. You're going to chain 1, and this time we're going to work 4 rows exactly like we did single crochet in the back loop only for the next 4 rows. All right, now our next row is going to be similar to what we were just doing. The only difference is we're going to single crochet in the back loop only of the first 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now we are going to chain 2. We're making our buttonhole here. You're going to skip 2 stitches and then single crochet in the back loop only of the next 6 stitches. Once you've worked 6 stitches, now you will chain 2 again, skip 2 stitches again, and single crochet in the back loop only of the last 4 stitches. And that completes that row. So now you'll chain 1 and turn again. And this time we're going to repeat our single crocheting in the back loop only all the way across for the next 5 rows. So exactly what we've been doing previously, just do it again for another 5 rows. So there is our finished panel, and you can see the 2 little buttons holes in the center. Now we've made it. We are on our last row. It's a little bit tricky, but trust me, you can do this just fine. We're going to chain 1, and once again we are going to single crochet into the side of each row. So working down all of those back loop only rows that you've done, we are going to single crochet into the side of each stitch. And this little section's a little harder with the ribbing, but once you get down to the regular stitches, it's going to get really easy. And you can skip this row if you really have a hard time with it. That's totally fine, but I really recommend it. I think it gives the scarf a really nice finished look. So we've almost made it to the very end of this row. We're working into the side of the stitches here, but once we reach the beginning of our half double crochets, now it's real easy. Just work into the single crochet into the top of every half double crochet and do that until you reach the other side of your scarf. So now we made it to the other side, and we also single crocheted along the edge of our ribbed section again. Now when you get to the corner, I just want you to chain one, and working down the top of the single crochets, you're just going to single crochet into each stitch along this edge of the row. So when you reach a corner again, you will just chain one and work down the side of the ribbing, and then the opposite side of that chain that we made. We worked into our foundation chain. Now we're going to work into the opposite side of that foundation chain and continue all the way down the row. When you reach the very end of the row, we do not need to go down that other side because that's already looks like a nice finished edge. So you're just going to fasten off and you'll weave in your ends. And then to finish up, you will just take your buttons, line up your two edges, line up your buttons, just sew your buttons in place, and your scarf is finished and ready for you to wear. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I know I really enjoyed sharing it with you, and I hope you'll come back and check out some of my other tutorials.